Let me just intro real fast. My keybinds are weird. My hands are so small, I wear women's smalls for gloves. So the way I get around this is by having an MMO mouse with 12 mouse buttons. To counteract the weight of the MMO mouse, I use the SteelSeries Aerox 9, which is the lightest MMO mouse on the market. I also use an Artesian Hind mouse pad, so I get less friction on the mouse pad. I use Superglide glass skates on the mouse as well. I also cut out a hole in a footrest that I put a foot pedal in. That way I can use the mouse, the 12 buttons on the side of the mouse is 24 buttons just by, putting my big toe down. That's all I have to do, and it gives me extra buttons. So that's why a lot of keybinds are the way that they are. If you think anything is, really fucking weird, like weapon special action on 9, that's, that's real weird. Okay, anyway, so the reason why I do this is pretty simple. Oh, I also use grip tape. I forgot to mention. I use grip tape on the mouse because I can't use my thumb to stabilize the mouse. So I combine all of that because I like keeping my thumb moving. The goal is to never take your fingers off WASD. Never. You can never not be hitting WASD. There are things that I'm not willing to compromise on. I always have to be able to hit WASD, sprint, dodge, and slide all at the same time. No matter what I'm doing, I can always hit these buttons, no matter what. Okay, so I put special action on 9 because this is just... The only times I'm using this are dueling sword. So just something like this, it's really not that important. I put interact on X because I use E to jump. I use E to jump. And I use E to jump and X to interact for a reason. While I'm hitting WASD, it is easier to hit 5 on my mouse thumb and or 4 into space. Oh, okay, I understand what happened. I was very curious. I was like, what just happened? But I think the keybind just got changed. Yeah, it did. So, something like this, it's very easy to I always have access to this and then go straight into sprint, back into sliding. If my button were to be X to interact, or I'm sorry, if it were to be E to interact, then I'd have to put space somewhere else. I do it to free up crouch for jump, or I'm sorry, fuck, I'm really stupid. Sorry, actual autism moment. I do it so I free up spacebar. And I have spacebar free, so I can put dodge on it, because I'm dodging 80% of the gameplay. I'm never not sliding. Okay, the rest. So I use these instead of, scroll wheels, because for one, scroll wheels are the most vulnerable part of mice. That's what's going to break more often than not. Second off, I really like the 100% consistency of just hitting a button to pull things out. I don't have to worry about what the last weapon is. I can go damage stem, pull melee out, start uncanny striking the guy down. I don't have to worry about what was my last pulled out weapon? How's the system going to interact? So these are mice buttons. They are my top 2 back mouse buttons. This way I can do something like this. I can vault over, do this into slide, pull this out, immediately drop this down for my team, go back to this. I just find the movement very fluid of hitting 4 on my mouse to slide. And then as I start the slide, that gives me a frame to kill an input, because you can't just queue up a shit ton of inputs. The game does have a cap. So this just gives me an easier way to, buffer inputs basically. I don't use this key at all. This is a dead key. Wheeled Auspex is just 1 because I'm hardly ever scanning. The people who are the worst at the combat should be the ones doing the scanning. I don't use this at all. Instead of tying all these buttons to keys and trying to work this system, I just 1 button, 1 action. And it's the same thing every time. Blitz is grenade, this is a mouse button as well. Abilities on F. Tag is on Q. This way I can constantly tag things no matter what I'm doing. I can always be hitting WASD. Remember my criteria. I need to be able to WASD, attack, dodge, and slide all, I can't have that be interrupted. So while I'm doing this, I just spam Q, just spam Q, just spam Q, just spam Q. And there you go. I can tag things through Horde. That's how I see dogs and stuff. Comms wheel and push to talk are all foot pedal stuff. So this is where you start getting into the really crazy stuff. this is where it's like, okay, so I can be fighting the horde, then I can be like, okay, so I'm going to try to make a call out here. I'm going to swap to my staff, hold R to start venting, dodge, slide backwards while opening the comms wheel. So I can do something like this. You know, like that. And then just spam back dodges, and like, I'm not giving up any mobility to do this. Same thing with push to talk. I'm not giving up anything to do any of that. I don't know why I'm coughing so much, sorry. Tab is just for scoreboard. I don't inspect weapon, like, at all. Dodge is 4, jump is E, crouch is space, and sprint is 5. I would never put I would never put dodge and sprint too far away, because too often you're doing this, and then you need to immediately sprint, or you need to go sprint, dodge, slide. Really, I just need these 3 buttons chained together. I think that covers it all. Pretty adequately, I think.